Hi, I'm Dom Famularo, and I'm here on behalf of the Sessions, who has this incredible series called The Legends. And with that, we're able to present to you these unbelievably talented musicians and artists. Rare that they have entered our world at our time that we can experience the greatness of the magic of what they do. And I'm so honored to be here with the great Walfredo Reyes Sr. You are the best.
Thank you, Dom. I think that of you too. You are the best.
We've known each other for a long, long time, and I'm so honored to have the
Long
chance.
time.
Yeah, absolutely, to have a chance to sit down with you because you have had, and continue to have, this incredible rich history that you bring this Cuban element of music to the world.
Thank you.
Tell me about the early days in Cuba, your influences.
Wow, we're going back 80 years. Okay. Yes, born in Cuba, Havana, Cuba.
Yeah.
La Habana,
Yeah.
Cuba. And at an early age, I would say 6, 7, my father decided to come, who was a trumpet player with one of the famous bands in Cuba then, called Casino de la Playa. So my father decided to come to the United States. It was
About what year?
39, 40.
So it was
Yeah.
common at that time for, Cubans to come over to America at that time?
No. If you had the money, you did.
Okay.
If there wasn't any problem, you came out as a tourist, or there were a lot of ships that made it from Havana to New York.
Right.
And my dad, because of the mambo craze, the rumba craze that was going on in those days, with Xavier Cugat, the rumba king, and everybody in the United States was dancing the mambo, and the cha-cha-cha.
I mean, that all came
We
from
call it cha-cha.
cha-cha.
It was cha-cha-cha.
Yeah. And that all came from the origins of Cuba at that time.
The rhythms were happened there. They were. Cubans are very inventive when it comes to rhythms. We're always looking for something new, and of course, because of our traditional folklore, there's so much to extract what you want for commercial playing. So things were being done by young musicians and arrangers, violin players like Enrique Jorrin. All of a sudden, it was cha-cha-cha. What's a cha-cha-cha? Well, it's part of the Cuban danzón, the traditional danzón. Much of all, like you've probably heard of Cachao, the great Cuban bass player.
Absolutely.
And one day I was playing with Josephine Baker. That was my first gig, and he was in the section of the violin players. He must have been around 21, and he said, "Walfredo, I have a great rhythm, and it's like cha 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 cha." And I'm looking at it because I was a jazz fan. I'm going, "Enrique, come on, that's not gonna happen. What do you mean cha cha cha?" "Yeah, because the guido goes chi cha chi cha chi cha, and the feet go chi cha 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 cha, and that was a very commercial rhythm for dancers and orchestras. So I told him, "Enrique, come on, play jazz, man, And believe it or not, he was a violin player with the symphony, with the Havana Symphony.
Interesting.
A couple of weeks later, there was a famous cha-cha-cha called, I forget now, but it was all of a sudden hit. It was explosive. It just came out, and everybody was doing.
That was in the U.S.?
Cuba. It hadn't.
It hadn't gone
Not
to the U.S.
yet.
yet.
No,
Wow.
it didn't cross the 90 miles yet. No. And all of a sudden, it did, and got to the United States, and at the Palladium Ballroom in New York City, the Arcadia Ballroom, all the ballrooms, everybody was doing the cha-cha, the cha-cha, the cha-cha. The schools of Fred Astaire,
Absolutely.
Arthur Murray, they had everybody learning the cha-cha, and I would go by, because after that I went to school in New York City, but I used to go to Havana in the summer vacations. So I was picking up the American side of the United States and going back to my roots, so mixing them up. So everybody was doing the cha-cha, and I kind of grew up watching both scenes.
Interesting.
What was going on in the U.S. and what was going on in Cuba, very different. The tempos were different. The styles of playing were different. Every time you went to Cuba, you would see something new, something different.
Yeah.
And then it would reach New York
Right.
or the West Coast about 3 months later.
Later than that.
You know?
You dropped a name like Josephine Baker. I mean, the depth of her talent and
Amazing.
wonderful. How old are you when you played with her?
I was, like I said, it was 1951. So I'm 80 now, so do the math. You're
Okay,
better
so
than me.
Here you are now. You're still relatively young. You're working with Josephine Baker. What do you felt you learned from artists like that?
Well, I'll tell you, Josephine was the type of a person. She had just come from France. Before going to the United States, there were some problems there, and she came to Cuba. An incredible lady, a lot of poise. Her husband was Joe Bouillon, who was a violin player with the comique opera in France, an incredible musicians. And you probably heard the stories of her castle in France, and she had many adopted children.
Yeah.
But Josephine was the type of a person that when the movie came on, she would sit like on the third row with a pair of Levi's and a shirt with a knot here and a handkerchief, and put her feet up like this and watch the movie. And there were people right there waiting to see her online, that they didn't even know it was her. So when she went in and transformed herself with these gorgeous costumes, she had this big, long, white ermine fur, and she would just drag it out. And those days, fur was, you could have fur, right?
That was a thing, yeah.
So the fur, she would say, "That's my meow meow," like that's my little cat, and she would kiss me. "Oh, Walfredo," the French way. She was an amazing lady.
So now you talked about dance before, and we've talked about dance and rhythm and drumming and percussion. How important dance is to be involved if you can feel the music and you can dance.
Yes.
Tell me more about that. About how important dance is to you.
It's an art form. The art form of dancing, the art form of playing. It's a conversation. It's a puzzle. You got to put it together. Many times I hear, drummers that a lot of notes, a lot of banging on the drum, but it doesn't mean a thing. And I think that dancing, anything that comes to you that makes you go like this, it's like you're feeling something, and there has to be a feel.
Yeah.
There has to be a feel. In American music, tap dancing, soft shoe.
Yeah.
When you listen to those beautiful tap dances, the Nicholas Brothers, I had a chance to play for them when I in Puerto Rico. Heinz and Dad, Sammy Davis.
Absolutely, yeah.
And tap is the essence. And as far as drummers are concerned, we have Buddy tap dance.
Tap dance, Louis Bellison tap dance, Steve Gadd tap dance. Absolutely, man. A lot of great tap dances. Roy Haynes, Jack DeJohnette, Ed Thigpen, Papa Joe Jones, Philly Joe Jones. They were all great tap dancers. So
and then I had a tap dancer in San Francisco. The guy was in the street with a plywood, and he was going, so fast. And I said, "I'm a drummer." He said, "Oh, I could teach you how to do a lot of things on that pedal." And he went, "Oh my God," So I think everything is a combination of the body, and it goes through the body and goes into the drums.
Right on.
Because when you touch a drum, you don't hammer it, you don't go bang like you're gonna put a nail in it. To me, it speaks to you.
Yeah.
That's why these drummers that hit the drum, they want to listen to the sound, they want to listen to the pitch.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, And well,
so movement.
You know the rest. You're one of them.
The movement, and we talked about the clave, this key, this rhythm that creates everything that comes from whatever we hear has its roots in the clave.
The clave is basically, you know, we all know clave are two sticks and you hit them, but it's not like you grab the stick and you just hit them. You are producing a sound, you're producing a rhythm with that instrument. That there could be 7 guys, 8, 10, 13, you know, a million.
Right.
Yet that man with the clave is the one you have to hear, because he's the metronome.
Right.
He's telling you where to go. See?
Absolutely.
So you don't fight him.
Right.
Maybe he's doing some kind of retard things or kind of push it a little bit. If you're the drummer, you don't fight him. You go with him. It's something circular. Instead of being too this,
Rigid,
it's
yeah.
more this way. You know, like martial arts, you know, where it's soft and then, you know, Tai Chi.
Like dance, absolutely.
And dancing.
Absolutely.
And you
Yeah,
see these
yeah.
beautiful ballet dances or any dance. I mean, I love it. I'm a fan of dancing,
Yeah.
beautiful dancing. And, you know, Catherine Dunham, top players from Cuba like Francisco
Yeah,
Alvarella,
yeah.
Julito Goyazo in the older days were hired by Catherine
Mm.
when she went to Cuba to travel with her,
Interesting.
you know. So it all relates to that folklore that came to us from Africa.
So when you have this, you really were the first one to incorporate drum set and percussion. So you have this clave, you have this feel, you have this dance. You really were incredibly inventive to have this drum set and then add percussion, where now you're playing with one drumstick in your hand. This independence. Where did that come from?
Well, it came by listening to both countries.